Hello everybody, CW here. I've got a new project, another new project. I don't have the first ones done and I'm into new ones. You know about my contender affections. Well, there's a couple of calibers that I've looked at in the past and really liked the idea of, and made a mental note that if I find or run across one of these in particular, or maybe a carbine barrel or a longer pistol barrel, and the price was right, I might pick it up. And one of those was the 7mm TCU. I had one in the past and I really liked it. It was a lot of fun to shoot. It was good with cast bullets. It was miserly on powder, the 223 case. So I got real excited and I started looking, and then I remembered that there's nothing that it can do that I can't do just as well with my 730 Waters. So I happened to actually find a 730 Waters for a really good price. Talked to the guy back and forth. He's just getting out of the contenders. He's getting older. He can't shoot the heavier calibers, and he didn't need a whole lot of money for it. He enjoyed it, and he was a really nice guy, and so I picked it up. That's old news. You've already probably seen me shoot it. I've had it in a couple of videos. It was my wife's favorite caliber, so it's kind of special to me, my late wife's. So picking up a 14-inch was really good. I just mounted a new 5-power Burris on it, which now may get moved, but we'll see. We'll talk about that more down the road. So over the holiday, Easter holiday, I was surfing on a couple of different websites like I always do, and I ran across a guy selling a 7mm TCU 14-inch barrel for a really good price. I almost was tempted, but he had a second barrel that really piqued my interest because it is the one I was hoping to run across one day, and that is the 6mm TCU. Now, those that aren't familiar with what a 6mm TCU is, it's basically a 223 or a 5.56 case that's obviously opened up to 243 diameter, 6mm, but it's also got a 40-degree shoulder. I believe the shoulders move forward a little bit. I think the neck is a little bit shorter. I haven't measured that precisely to know, but going by pictures, it looks to be a little shorter. And then the body is opened up, so it's a slight larger body diameter. So where a 223 is ever so slightly tapered, the 6mm TCU eliminates most of that body taper. So I was really excited. I sent an email off to the guy asking history on it, experiences with it, just whatever. Telling him that, I really like the caliber, yada, yada, yada. Well, apparently he's not too awful talkative, but he did reply, gave me the information for payment. I made payment after checking him out as far as his history on the forum, other sales, so what people said about what kind of guy he was, yada, 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 because I don't know, obviously, who it is from anybody. But he passed what I could see, acceptable to me with the sales that he had and people that I knew from the board. I've been on this particular board for like 25 years. So I knew some of the people he had done business with and trusted their opinions, and they had said good things, so I sent him money. So that'll be probably a week, depending when he can get a chance to get to the mail. I do have his address, but I don't remember off the top of my head where he was. Before I get too far away, I told you about the cartridge. Let me throw up a cartridge drawing here. Freeze that, take a snap picture, whatever, and look at those dimensions and get an idea of what we're talking about. In a short barrel, 14-inch barrel, our performance is going to exceed the 223. It always works that way. Whenever you take the same size case, whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is, 223, 308, 3006, makes no difference. Whenever you take a given size case and size it up in diameter to a larger bullet, and then shoot similar weight bullets. So let's say in this case, 223 shoots a 55 and a 60 grain bullet. You can shoot a 55 and a 60 grain bullet in 243. You take those cartridges, 223 with a 60 grain and a 6mm TCU with a 60 grain, and the 6mm TCU will exceed the velocities of the 223. It's called expansion ratio, and it's just one of those things. That's how it works. So all things being equal, that's just how it works. Now, obviously, if you run one to a higher pressure, that, all the bets are off, because the higher pressure is most likely going to prevail. So what I wanted to do yesterday, as I was sitting digesting from a big, huge dinner, fat and happy because it was Easter. Everybody's watching the basketball game, except for my girlfriend and myself, because neither one of us really have much interest in basketball. So she's surfing on her phone, so I figured, all right, I'll surf on my phone. Generally, we do no cell phones, just to pay attention to each other and not, distractions. But, so I'm surfing around and I'm reading up everything I can find on the cartridge. And one that's really close to it for me that I have is the 2545 Sharps. I have that in an AR heavy barrel. You've seen it. It's a laser beam. I shoot, what do I shoot in that? 110 grain FTX bullets at about 2600. So it's been awesome. I've taken a few deer with it, with 90s and 120s, and it's been just spectacular. So I assumed wrongly that this cartridge was basically the same thing, just a 223 case opened up to 243 or 6mm, and it's not. As I told you, its body is blown out to less body taper, and it's got a 40-degree shoulder, so it's got a sharper shoulder. And it's a good looking cartridge. Let's see. I've got a couple of pictures. Let's see if I can find a couple of pictures and drop a couple of pictures in here for you. So there you go. There's pictures with it next to 223s and next to a couple of other cartridges that you may be familiar with. There's been a number of them that are in line with this, and one is that 2545 that's been around for a long time. I'm sorry, I misspoke. 6x45, which has been around for a long time. There's now a 6mm Max, which is not a 223 case. It's a 350 Legend case, which internal volume is virtually the same, but it is a different case, and different shoulder, different a lot, minorly different a lot, and it must be run at more pressure because it's a little bit hotter than this. But all things considered, it's run in rifles. So this generally, you can get carbine barrels for it, but generally you don't see it in rifles. You see it in pistols and occasionally in carbines. So most all of the velocity specs from the reloading manuals, and it is in quite a few manuals. It is out there. Not as popular these days as it was, but it's out there. It's comparing a 10 or a 14-inch barrel, 15-inch barrel to a 20, 24-inch barrel. And of course, you know how that goes. You're bringing out a new caliber, and the bigger the better. So you got to make it sound great. So you're going to list its highest possible velocity, which is gotten from the longest possible barrel. Regardless of the fact that you may never even ever see a cartridge in that length barrel, that's the way they do it. So I went through my stash of different cases and such, and what I found here is, long ago, I remember going to this shoot, but there was a couple of guys in one of the teams that was shooting all Speer factory law enforcement ammo, and they did not want their brass. This is going to be the late 2000s. So we picked it all up, And I stuck it in a bag and stuck it on the shelf. And, well, I found a use for it. I like it because it doesn't have a caliber designation on it. It only says, and here I'll do a close-up for you, it only says Speer and the year. So let's see if I can get this here for you. So we got Speer 09. No caliber designation. And I really like that because now, without something written on it, you've got to look to see what you got. So what I'm doing here while I'm talking to you is I am running these cases, once fired, through a Wilson tool over here, mandrel die. And I'm opening them up to 6mm, open them up to 243. I don't have dies, so I'm waiting for dies to come in. Actually, I found I can buy them at Graf & Sons. They have them on the shelf, ready to go. So I can buy them right there. But I found one set of older Durachromes on eBay. So the guy wants the same price as a brand new set. So, you know, capitalism, God bless him if he can get it. But I sent him an offer telling him that, look, I can buy a brand new set of Hornady's for the same price you're offering, and it's got free shipping if I buy a couple extra things, which I would. So would you take, you know, X number of dollars? And nothing's for sale here, so I'm not listing any prices, but I'll give him a couple of days. I think he's got 20 hours to accept or deny my offer. And I'll grab those because the Durachromes are pretty good dies, and I just as soon have older qualities. Hornady's are okay. I've got a few sets of them. They're okay. I don't hate them, but I do prefer others. Reddings are right now out of the question. They're $200 and something because it's not a regular produced set caliber. So I'm not going to spend that much right now. If this becomes an all-time favorite, you know, absolute laser beam, can't miss, shoots, you know, 1/8 groups all day long over my shoulder, backwards, yada, 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 maybe I'll invest. But for right now, I think I'll be fine with the Durachromes or the Hornady's. Now, because of that blowout case and the shoulder change, all the brass does have to be fire formed. But that's no big deal because I got to do that for a number of cartridges. You know, my Harrits have to be done. Not quite as severely, but they need to be done because they headspace off the shoulder, and you want to make sure you've got good clean shoulders from the barrel of the gun you're loading for. You can't take them from somebody else's. So, you know, you want to fire form in that gun. The 730 Waters is another one. Let me show you that right here because I happen to have some right here. When you get them, you take a 30-30 case and you run it through the die, you get a double shoulder. So this top one here is where the shoulder actually is. This is after it's fired. All those marks are annealing. But this is after it's fired. So you see the shoulder is way far forward. So you got to fire form these. And I like to do it with a cast bullet. You can do it with cream of wheat. You can do it with wax. You can do it with a whole bunch of different things. Tissue paper jammed down in there with something on top of a fast burning powder. And that'll blow the shoulder out if you don't want to waste a bullet. But being that I have casts, and I'll do the same thing for these. I'll do like a 95 grain RCBS or something. You got to waste a primer anyway, so that's the really tough part. Powder is no big deal, but the primer is, you know, pretty much gold these days. So you got to waste a primer regardless. So I'll see the cast bullet in there, and I'll be able to shoot and enjoy shooting it before I even can make up loads. I'll do it with the Fireforeman loads. Now you've seen me do this before when I made some brass for the 6 arc. Before I got brass for the 6 arc, I made it out of 7.62 by 39. And I got a 20 shot group over here. Here, I got a 30 shot group over here. Fireform loads at 100 yards. with a 75 grain Hornady. 0.607. 0.607 center to center. That looks bigger than that, but you can see there's my thumb, so it's just a little over my thumb width. For 30 shots. So Fireforeman loads can be accurate. Even though you're blowing that shoulder out, even though you're blowing that case out, you think it's going to affect accuracy. And it can, but it doesn't always have to. So there you go. All right, just a introduction cartridge, and I just wanted to show you quick. It's going to be fun. I hope you come along for the ride. It's going to be fun. Don't know what I'm going to scope it with. I'm for sure going to scope it with a Burris of some kind because I really like that scope. But whether I move scopes around or pick up another new one, I don't know. I don't know. I do have a couple of barrels that could go to a red dot. They frankly don't need an optic. So that may free up an optic. I don't know. We'll see when I get it in hand and what I get. There is no sights on it, but it does come with a base. So that's a good $30 or $40 addition value that I would have to buy once I get the barrel in hand that I won't have to buy. So it also included shipping, the cost that he offered. So there's another 20 bucks. So it's a pretty good deal. I think it's a pretty good deal. It's a custom shop barrel. So I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited. So stay tuned. 6mm TCU coming soon. God bless everybody. CW out.